Hey, AfterBuzzers, welcome back. You are watching the after show for Homeland, and guess what? I can resurrect people. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
So we're back. And we've got our music, which is the Homeland theme music, and we're waiting for the trumpet to come in. Yeah, there we go. Not a saxophone. All right, guys.
Hey, AfterBuzzers, how's it going? You know when that music starts, we're ready to go. And we're excited to talk about today. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, so this is a special treat because in the studio tonight, we actually have Majid Javadi himself, Shaun Toub.
Sitting right next to me.
Still alive.
Yeah, still alive.
Still alive.
And I'm your host, Rick Hong. You can find me at Rick Hong, RICKHONG, and I'm joined by Lesley Corral. Where can they find you?
I am Lesley Corral. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lesley the Face. And sitting right next to me,
Shaun, where can people find you on the internet?
Instagram is Shaun Toub, just my name, SHAUNTOUB, and same thing on Twitter, and I have a fan page on Facebook. It's my name, Shaun Toub. I love my name, so I just put it everywhere.
All right, so this is a special treat for us because we're at episode 9, and as I told Shaun when he walked in, thank you so much for being here because this is actually my first time having someone for a show in the to come guest star and everything and talk with us about their episode, which is an amazing episode.
It's an incredible episode. I mean, I was just saying, every episode just gets better. They're so good. These writers are so amazing, and the way they know how to work it, and people always complain in the beginning, well, it's a little slow, but they know how to rev it up.
Wait, have you been watching? Because that's actually exactly what I said in the first couple episodes. I was like, oh man, it's getting a little slow, and then it started picking up, and now it's like it's
just going crazy now. No, actually, I'm a fan of the series. So I actually, the way I was introduced to it in season 3. Was at first I hadn't watched the show, so when I got the offer, then the agency said, because I was like, I don't know, they said, watch the first and second season, and then we'll talk.
You binged it?
Right.
At 10 o'clock at night. It was 6 episodes
That's
later,
the way
4
to
o'clock in
do
the
it.
morning. My wife is saying, you want to see one more? I go, no, I got to work tomorrow morning. So the next morning I called and I said, get me in this thing. It's an incredible.
And it must be so thrilling as an actor to work on a show that's just known for its quality writing.
It's an honor, honestly. It's such a pleasure to be, and everybody associated with this show, they're pros. I mean, you see the quality of actors that they bring in. I mean, they really care about the quality of work, and the directors are amazing. The creator, Alex Ganza, is just.
And this character that you get to do is exciting. You never know what he's up to. So that must be fun for you.
Exactly. I always say I like multi-dimensional characters. I like complex characters, because even if you play a bad guy, it just gets boring if you just play it one way.
Right.
And as humans, we all have a little bit good, bad, and so I wanted to be charming at times. I wanted to confuse people.
Well, here's my question: when you're playing Javadi, I mean, do you look at him as a villain, or it's just because we look at him as a villain because we're Americans and and he's on the other side? Like, could you actually sit there and say, Javadi's actually just misunderstood, or he's
That's
not
exactly
really...
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You took the words. I was gonna say he's just misunderstood. No, you know what it is? With him, it's all business. It's just Javadi is number one. So he cares about him.
Exactly what I've said. He's looking out for himself.
But there are moments that you see the human side, especially with Carrie. He has this, it's sort of a soft point.
That was something that I actually pointed out to Lesley, that we saw last week. Was I was thinking, wow, he's in this car with her. And then, you say, in the car, like you told Carrie, basically, hey, we had Brody moved. I can give you a map of where his body is if you ever want to go.
But he's also, what people have to know, that he's also playing her a bit because she's not about to pack her bag and go to Tehran,
right?
To Iran at this point, in her life with a child and all that. So he's but he's just good like that. You know, he in season 3, that's where they really connected. You could see the very first conversation.
No,
There's an
I
attraction
went,
there.
I went back this morning and I actually watched the episode where you're introduced, and I think it's she gets like a hood taken over, and then and then you're sitting there, lie detector, asking her questions and talking about yoga, like making like yoga references.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But because I wanted to see, I was like, where did Shaun come into this series at? And because you were gone for about a couple seasons.
Yeah, at the end of the season 3, I basically got on the plane and left. So they turned me, and then you know, things. I thought they were going to continue with that, but then you know, they changed the subject, and so he's been around, and they. And luckily, the fans have always, you know, been interested to see what Javadi's up to. So it was a good opportunity to bring him back, thanks to them.
Is it hard to? Do you have to like? I mean, because I'm not an actor, so I was wondering, like, is it hard to remember like the character? Do you have to sit there and say like, wait, let me go back and watch my episodes, or do you can you just like go back into it and you're like, no, I know this character because this character is me. I was curious about that if you haven't played him in a few seasons.
This is really interesting that you say that, because I was so concerned when you know, after I came back after, you know, 3 years, you kind of, you know, you've done so many other things in between that, you know, so many other jobs, thankfully, and so I was very concerned about, you know, actors, but we all, you know, we all have our insecurities, you know, so this is just the way we are, I think. And so it was really interesting, and I was mortified a bit when the very first scene on episode 4 of this season, I was like, I just hope that when I am in the scene, that soul would just come over me, and you know, I'm able to bring Javadi back. And I was concerned, and then. I saw a piece of, you know, 4, and the writer actually called me. He was so nice. He called me at the hotel. I was working out, I remember, and he was, you know.
Hey, by the way, he's saying he's working out because, guys, he just did the LA Marathon today. Wow. If you go to his Twitter, he just finished doing the LA Marathon, and he came into the studio. It's 9 o'clock LA time. He came after running that marathon. So this is a dedicated guy to his character. I mean, he's talking about his fitness, absolutely.
No, but I just think it's crazy that you say
we are pulling your leg.
No, I think it's crazy that you say, you know, you were nervous about getting back into the role. I feel like you would never see that on screen. It just like, I feel like your character just has this air of
actually,
confidence of it.
You know, be honest with you, when I saw it, I was so relieved. I was like, oh my God, that's Javadi.
Like, I'm good.
So, yeah.
Well, so then my question is does this make you nervous?
No, actually, it should make you nervous.
your fingernails feel okay?
Yeah. No, they grew out.
It's making me nervous.
They grew out, actually.
No, so like, yeah, we've loved having your character like be on this season.
Thank you.
And you know, Lesley and I have talked about you're 1 minute you're in this like nice hotel, you're in like a pool, you got a woman walking behind you, and the next step people are just like pulling you like left and right, and you don't know who to trust. I was just trying to figure out how you like those scenes yourself.
Well, you know, Javadi is chasing that $45 million, so he feels that he's gonna live it up. And that's what he's looking for. He's done. He's, you know, as he says to Dar Adal, he's just, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, he felt that he's just gonna get out. He's done, you know, enough. So now, interesting enough, this is another side of him that you see, because you would think that Javadi always likes this game and wants to be in the middle of it. But in essence,
in this episode, that's not. He makes it clear.
You see, all of a sudden, yeah.
Well, let's get into this episode.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic one, and your character obviously was a big part of it.
Thank you.
So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah. So I mean, so we open up and it's, you know, it's Carrie being clearly she's with a shrink.
What a beautiful
Well, not
scene.
clearly, actually. I feel like the first few, you know, minute of that, I was kind of trying to figure out what was happening. Like, she was talking to the camera. She could have been talking to a friend or talking to herself. before they reveal she's talking to a therapist, you picked that up. I really loved that opening. I thought it was so interesting. I feel like it's always nice to get into the psyche of your main character and hear what she's going through. And, you know, we haven't really heard her discuss Brody too much, and, you know,
and they've dropped like little hints this season.
Hints,
I mean,
but
you know, as Javadi, as Shaun is like, you know,
Exactly.
brought up Brody as well
Exactly.
this
So
season.
you haven't
last
really
episode.
heard her talk about her feelings towards her daughter, about that relationship. It was complicated, and she even related it to Quinn. It was nice. I felt like I was really intrigued just from the
Beautifully
beginning.
done, though.
I
I
agree.
must say, beautifully done, beautifully acted.
She called Franny a red-haired reminder of it, which is what I always think every time I see Franny. So, of
course.
I don't know. I loved hearing that, and it felt a little, that whole scene, like a callback to The Sopranos when Tony would, you know, meet with his therapist. Those are like
Oh yeah,
the quintessential points
And this-
of
yeah,
that
yeah, uh-huh.
series.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good.
you know,
good
it was
point.
a nice callback, and I enjoyed that.
You know, it's so I make a joke to a lot of people, and it's almost how they got me on this panel. You know, they were saying, well, if we got you on Homeland, like, what would you do? And I kept telling people, well, you know, at some point in time, I'll get a blonde wig and I'm going to do the crying Carrie face. That
Oh, you
Claire
shouldn't have
Danes.
told me that. You're
She
gonna
does.
have
She
to
does
do
it
that.
so well. So I've told our audience, every time you see like crying Carrie face on the show, you got to like raise your cup, because I don't know. Have you been in a scene where Claire Danes just done that just automatically? I can't remember if there's a scene between the two.
Yeah, no, we have. You remember actually the one that I can think of, which was so important, was the scene, the very last episode, the finale of season 3, where she comes to me because she wants to see Brody. Remember, in that palace? And that was a very, very heavy scene for her. And yeah, absolutely, she can turn it on. It's amazing.
Yeah, the waterworks is just.
She can turn it on.
Yeah.
And she's so good in this role. She's so good in this thing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's like, I always make it a joke, and I think they've made it a Halloween mask too, because she's so
You know,
good
I
at
have
it.
a blonde wig. I am gonna intend to bring it out at some point before this
I'll
season.
have to bring eye drops.
Hey, it's a compliment. So as long as people are copying you, that's okay.
Yeah, so then we move on from Carrie, and now, you know, we got the snake, the weasel, Dar Adal.
Yep, and
He seems to be in like good, you know.
He's talking to President Keane, and the whole scene, I was so annoyed at him. I was like, you weasel, you are just lying. You're such a faker. And she is so stupid in my head at that scene. I was like, why are you buying anything? And then he finally reveals what I think is his agenda, which I had been searching for all season. What's his end goal? When he's like, oh, whoever you're thinking about,
Right.
Secretary of State, you might want to rethink that now. And I'm like, that's it. That's what he wants. I wouldn't even be surprised if he throws his own name into the hat.
Right.
But I
Yeah,
feel
no,
like
yeah,
that
exactly.
scene was
He's
very
also
telling.
misunderstood.
Dar.
He is misunderstood, but I feel like, especially this season, it's been really hard for me to see his perspective, because he's done so many things that it's just,
Yeah.
it's tough.
He's a bad dude. And I should have never trusted him.
I
That
mean,
was so stupid. I mean, I would have been still.
it's pretty quickly, he talks to the president, and then he's having the conversation
Yeah.
with you about like, oh yes, haha, everything's great. He almost is gloating a little bit, and I
Yeah.
didn't like that. Your character was like, I'm done gloating.
Well, okay, so yeah, so like no, so then now, okay, so we briefly see Carrie and Max have a conversation. He's like, I'm gonna go apply at this place, but this is where things get really, really, really good. Is now we've got Dar with Javadi or Shaun, you know, and so how, you know, like they're like in that. So again, as I was talking to you about, you know, you were last week, I was laughing because you were in this homeless shelter, pissed off.
Yeah,
And then
that's not Javadi's style.
Yeah, and then
It's
you
just-
walk out, that coat just jumps off, and
Yeah.
you're in like a bang suit,
Yeah.
and you know, and so I was thinking, I was like, okay, yeah, homeless shelter's not your style. Now you're in this nice, sweet, eating this like yummy breakfast.
That's his style.
Yeah, with Dar.
Yeah.
And
I prefer that style. I mean, why
Yeah.
not?
Who wouldn't?
I have a question. So when you're
Tell me.
doing these scenes, do you guys stay in a certain mode or character the whole time? Are you joking in between takes? Like, I'm just wondering what it's like on set.
You know, it really depends on the actor. Some actors like to stay in character, and they like to kind of stay in the moment and stay in character. I, for one, I'm easily, I go in and out of it because I like to socialize. I like to talk to people. There are some scenes that are tough.
Sure,
if it's
yeah.
emotionally tough or you have a lot to do, then you want to focus. So you want to be by yourself and just
So in this scene, it turns from friendly to adversarial very quickly, and then you realize what's gonna happen. And then, you know, like they like shoot you with some kind of injection.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how is shooting that scene? Like, I don't know if it requires stunts or if you're doing it all yourself.
Yeah, obviously, it's not you in the laundry bin, right?
What is it?
It's not you in the laundry bin at the end.
No.
I was like, dude, they're not going to do that. I mean, you're not going to put Shaun actually in that bin.
The stunt double, God bless
Yeah.
them for what they do. They save us. Yeah, from that moment that the hood is on, basically, it's my stunt double doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, especially the throw in.
But,
The needle, it was me.
oh.
Yeah, you want to see this right here?
I see it, guys. There's something there.
Yeah, right.
No, but I love what he did. I feel like I was mad at him, but then, you know, redeeming quality, he calls Carrie and lets her hear in the whole conversation.
See, that's why Javadi, people hate and love him at the same time. It's just the love and hate relationship.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, the tweets are really funny. Some of them, you know, they're like, I hate you. I really despise you, but I hope you stay on the show. So I'm like, okay.
Well, I always feel like if you're getting strong reactions, even if they're like love or hate, that's good.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Then
mean?
you're doing your job.
Exactly. But yeah, so he calls Carrie, and then Carrie quickly calls Saul, and they listen in, which I think is fantastic because he didn't even have to do that. Like, he's still throwing them a bone.
Because I'm almost thinking Javadi knows. It's like, dude, I'm dead. I mean, maybe, but like, I mean, that's not. I mean, I don't know if that's
Also-
spoiler
confirmed.
now,
Also-
so-
not
that
confirmed.
is his only way out if you know,
he has a chance.
If I have a chance to get rescued, Saul and Carrie is the
That
only
mean,
one.
quick thinking on your toes.
Yeah, Javadi, baby, Javadi.
Wait, so did they? So did they only give you this scene, like in terms of like the script, or did you have like the whole script to read to kind of know what happens in the episode?
Interestingly enough, you know, I'm such a fan of the show that I asked them this season that don't give me the scripts that I am not in, the
Just the
episodes I'm
scene.
not
Oh, so
in.
it's just the scene.
Because no, I gotta have the whole script. I gotta know my storyline
Oh yeah,
about
yeah,
what's
right,
going
right.
on.
Uh-huh.
But the you know episodes that I wasn't in, I wanted to know as less as possible because I'm such a fan of the show. I just love watching it. My wife and I just love
That's
watching.
interesting.
Homeland.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, as I said, you know, I became a fan. You know, when I on season.
It's hard
3.
not to.
Yeah, it's an incredible show. It really is.
No, because I always think about you know, when there's shows where they know that there's deaths, people sit there and say like they read the whole script and they look at the back to see like, wait, am I still alive or am I not?
I know.
That's what I was like trying to figure out. And honestly, like I actually got to watch this with you and your wife tonight, and I didn't expect what was going to happen. You know, I was like, whoa.
That's what's crazy about it. You know, it's such a surprise. It's always. I mean, I sit there. I'm like, you must be. Sometimes when I'm reading the scripts that I'm in, I'm shocked. Actually, funny enough, Lorena, my wife, you know, she was reading 8. You know, the scene that I push Saul. So she reads everything. Actually, she sometimes reads things before I do. She's a big reader, so I love her opinion on things, and she always gets the scripts first for other offers as well. So all of a sudden she walks out of her office. She's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I was like, "What happened?"
No,
She
it's
goes,
almost,
"How could
yeah.
you do that to Saul?"
No, and it's like when I saw you tonight, we were sitting in front of our monitor, like getting. I was like, oh, dude, really? I was like, you got to push Saul on the ground. And I even said to Lesley last week, I was like, dude, Javadi, he's a bad guy. I was like, why would you do it to an old man?
Well, don't you feel bad about him now?
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, but hey, you know,
We
I
don't
mean,
know. We
we're
still
gonna,
don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna find out.
I'm not
you know,
convinced
much.
of anything yet. Okay, so
I
then,
mean, look at this. Look at this.
I mean, they gassed up Quinn, and he's still around. Just saying. By the way,
yeah.
Quinn was in the next scene.
Well,
Quinn is a cat. He has 9 lives. He just
at the cabin.
He's in
at
the cabin.
He's in the cabin.
When some police officers showed up, I guess calls of shots fired, and he's kind of just, I guess he just spent the night with the body of dead Astrid, which is kind of weird. But before he leaves, he gets a little bit of her blood.
Yeah, he gets a
and
taste of
puts
the
it in
blood.
her
he's a little
mouth.
strange right now.
That's a very strange thing to do. I was like,
Yeah,
vampire
well, he's
much?
a little off right now. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bizarre there.
You know, I mean, you know, he's just got to reminisce a little bit, you know, and then, you know, just kind of maybe plot out and be like, okay, now I'm going to go after who I need to go after.
But not before I get some of her blood and put it on my.
Yeah, and it was I know, it's a little bit of a weird scene. I agree with you. I agree. But I don't know, it feels like I grew up watching those 80s action movies, so it feels very much like one of those things that they would do.
Well, you know, his brain is a little off right now.
It is,
so,
yeah.
So I think that's where it's at.
It's off, but it's also on. I feel like this whole episode, I I was just like, Quinn, you're just like, I don't know, every movie he was doing I felt was so smart. Like not all of his facilities are there, but like he still has his instincts intact, which I love.
But he's so trained that it's in his DNA now.
Yes.
You know, so no matter what, he still knows how to do things.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to see like in the beginning where the drug dealer guy just knocks him down, and that probably wouldn't even happen now. You know, because he's kind of just slowly
Yes, absolutely.
rehabilitated himself on some end.
Yeah.
And then so we see Carrie and Saul back in the hotel, but now, you know, it's cleared out and they're trying to figure out what the hell happened with Javadi, you know, and Carrie really quickly notices that the towel's on the floor. It's like such a thing you would miss, but I feel like it's an obvious clue when she saw it. And not only did Javadi call and let her listen into the conversation, he left her a little gift.
Well, maybe it got knocked. I mean, I don't know.
think that was
Did it get knocked out, or did he? I mean, like, did it get knocked out in the scuffle, or do you think that if he like was like, all right, before?
I think he purposely left the phone. in
What
there.
a
do you
nice
think?
guy Javadi is. No, I mean, look at him. He left you a gift. Well,
the
no, he
video
definitely
you
had the
need.
phone in his hand.
Exactly.
And he was giving him messages, and then when he passes out in death, it just falls in the bin.
Okay.
It could have been convenient or it could have been planned. Either way, it had the video that they needed to take it to the
Absolutely.
president and finally be like, hey, see, we weren't lying. We're not crazy or unreliable.
And now we see a pissed off Madam President-elect
She points
Keene.
the finger
you
right
know.
at Dar.
That's going to be interesting.
Yes. And I was happy because I was like, yes, because I really didn't like seeing Carrie and Saul on the out. But then at the same time, it made me nervous because I felt like it kind of got resolved very quickly.
It did. But you said it. You said that they would team up.
Yeah.
They would team up. I think you said it last week. That was her prediction, that they would team up. And quick enough, they did.
Yeah.
Quick enough, they did. And now, all of a sudden, what looked like, I think maybe last episode or 2 episodes ago was like, oh, like, I mean, more the last episode, we're like, okay, Dar's the puppet master for everything. Now, all of a sudden, all his puppet mastery is fallen apart. Everybody like knows. I mean, Carrie clearly cleared up her misunderstanding with President-elect, saying, "Hey, by the way, the Say Kuba thing, this thing, the neighbor thing,
They,
all
like,
this
said
stuff.
it all.
It wasn't me. It was Dar."
But do you wonder where he gets his orders, Dar Adal?
That's a really great question because that's what I've been wondering because we saw in the very beginning of the season he was meeting with other people. Like maybe it's not all him.
Is he at the top of the food chain or not?
No, it's again that's a great point that you bring up too, because I keep asking, and I don't think it's been addressed still, is where did he have all the intel? You know, when he knew that Carrie was meeting with Madam President-elect, you know, he had pictures and everything. Like, yeah, exactly. Like you bring up the best point is, who does Dar Adal possibly report to?
Yeah, exactly. Is he the top guy or?
So he may not be the
Maybe
puppet
not.
master, right? Absolutely.
I mean, the episode is called Sock Puppets.
Well, but the sock puppets is more about. But I mean, you can relate to everything. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. We see Max at the weird company that we don't know about.
The conglomerate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the guy from the
Brett
radio
O'Keefe.
host, Brett O'Keefe, is there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man. Randomly, Max has some acting chops. I feel like we haven't seen him so much in a spy position. You know, he's usually just the tech guy, but he's really on
This
his
is the first
feet.
time. Yeah, he was very good
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, he's usually just the guy in the van.
He was
being
very
like,
good.
And he
Yeah,
played
listening
it so
on.
well. They're like, what's this gap here? And then he like explains that story. I'm like, I don't even know if that's true. I don't know if he made that up to make himself more intriguing, but I just feel like he played him so well where he's like, I gotta have you in here today.
Sean, you think what he was telling was true, or do you think it was just a ploy to try to get?
No, I don't think it's true.
Okay.
The
it was a ploy.
M&M.
Yeah, the M&M.
I mean, it's kind of sick, but no.
Yeah.
the candy M&Ms.
yeah.
But that was really good. I was like, good job, Max.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he did well. That's what I'm saying, though. They know how to pick him. They know how to bring talent, and that's how the show is so good.
Yeah, and no, so then from there we see the momentum building for Quinn. He's left the cabin.
Quinn, I
He's-
think, is killing it this season. I think he's so good.
So amazing. He robs the gun store in like the most brilliant way ever.
He creates what I've been told.
Diversion.
Well, it's a diversion, and it's also what I believe.
Don't get any ideas out there.
Yeah, don't. That's true. That's true. But they call it Molotov cocktail.
Yeah.
You know.
But it was so, and I was like, oh, he's gonna get caught. They're gonna come back. They're gonna see him. And no, he takes like a crap load of guns, which is kind of scary. I'm like, what are you up to, Quinn? And he bounces. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You're dying to see the next week
Oh,
episode.
God. Oh.
You see, this is the magic of Homeland. You want to see the next one as soon as possible.
No, that's true. That's why you said you almost like binge watch when you watch episode one of the first season. You cannot
can't stop.
Yeah, I remember when I introduced my girlfriend to that show, and I think I talked to her like the next day, and I was just like, "Are you still sleeping or something?" And she's like, "Yeah, because I couldn't go to sleep because I was she was just going on a rampage to watch it.
You can't put it down.
I remember I did the same thing. I think it was like I had to I watched like 8 episodes back to back to back, and I was like, I need to go to bed.
Yeah, I hope people are watching this season because it's a really good season.
I agree. And I feel like they've tackled so many different things this season.
It's a really interesting season.
Oh, what did you? So actually, I brought this up last week, and I wanted to know, because I asked Lesley, and I guess, and I'd never thought about it myself. But when Javadi asks, and he says, "How do I address her?" You know, and it's like, Madam President-elect. I was like, I don't know. Because I think on the show we kept just saying President Keene. And
we were wondering if it was like because it's the first female president. Is it because he's coming from another country and they're not used to this? What was the
what do you think? Like, what was in Javadi's mind for like asking that question?
Was it just to throw her off?
Well, Javadi wants to make an impression. He really wanted to make an impression. You know, he had a plan. He knew what he was doing when he went in. It was all set.
So it wasn't curiosity.
So he didn't want to misstep and start off the wrong foot and say something stupid, you know, that all of a sudden she would be ticked off or something. So he's always thinking.
So when you were reading the script, did you ever think about that though too on your own, to be like, oh, you know what? If we had a woman president, that's how we would address. I guess that's how we're supposed to. We haven't had one yet, but
I wouldn't know exactly. I would have probably asked somebody. But it's like, you know, going to meet the Queen. You know, you ask how you're supposed to behave yourself.
Yeah, you say Your Majesty. You say Queen Elizabeth.
So,
right.
Yeah. So it's you know, this is what the beauty of these writers are. You know, they think detail. You know, these little moments are just golden.
Yeah, I was thinking that for myself, I think my only frame of reference would have been like Veep. I don't know if you watch Veep, but I was like, yeah, well, she became president.
So we get into this part of the episode where it kind of gets a little uncomfortable for Carrie and Saul. She meets with the president, and Saul's not there, and she's just like, oh, he should be here. And they're like, well, let's just get to that in a sec. And they basically tell her, hey, the case we have right now against Dar, it's not going to work.
It's not strong enough.
It's not strong enough. It's not going to fly, especially with the means of how we got this, so forth. The only thing we have is what you told us in the very beginning of the season, what happened in Berlin that would implicate both Dar and Saul. So now Carrie's stuck in this conundrum like, well, if I do this, yes, we'll finally get Dar, but Saul's going to go down with him.
But also that she's back in.
Yes.
You see, she's been trying to get away from this thing.
Which relates
and she's back in again.
Which relates to the beginning scene where she's talking to the therapist and he says, hey, you know, balance.
Yes. He was like, sometimes your daughter's going to have to be first.
Yeah.
And I think it was so ironic enough that when she's finally having this conversation with Saul about what she was proposed by the president, she gets that call saying, oh, you're going to get a visitation.
It looks like everybody's coming back in. Saul, Carrie.
Just when I thought I was out. Well, except, I mean, but then I don't know. But then they have like their little like tiff in the park, like Saul and Carrie.
Well, no, and I completely get Saul's point of view, and I'm almost mad at Carrie because I don't like that she's considering this. Because Saul himself has dirt on Carrie that could easily get her in jail from all the crazy stuff she's done. So it's almost unfair that like, you know, she's willing to let him go down to take down Dar. It doesn't feel right. I feel like they have such a long relationship and history. It feels like a stab in the back, and I'm sure that's what he feels.
I think maybe she doesn't quite understand that this could be dangerous for Saul. Maybe she just really believes that he'll get a pardon. But I don't think she thought past that, understanding that this guy's career and all that he has done is at stake. And he worked really hard for many years, so he wants to preserve that.
Exactly. And he doesn't have a family. We saw earlier this season, he doesn't talk to his sister. He doesn't have a wife anymore. He doesn't have kids.
It was actually weird because when I was watching your initial episode in season 3, like she's in there, Saul's wife's in there, and I was like, oh yeah, that lady. I was like, yeah. I was like, I haven't seen her in a long time.
This is his life. This is his career. Whereas like Carrie wants to get out. Saul doesn't. This is it. He's kind of given up everything else for this. So it's really unfair for her to just so casually say, oh, well, you're going to get a pardon. Who cares about everything else?
Yeah, and he does mention that it could be the end of the agency because that's what because President Keen's very anti the agency, and also he says like all I'm ever going to be known for is like not my accomplishments, but
yeah, and I felt like it was terrible low blow that Carrie was like, well, maybe you shouldn't have slept with a Russian mole. I love that he like came back at her. I was like, well, I mean, you slept with Brody.
That was tough.
I mean, come on. I just feel like you shouldn't. I really hope Carrie doesn't go through with it, but I'm mad that she's considering.
I think there's love between these two. So
Yeah.
somehow I think they will try not to hurt each other too bad.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
so okay. So so they leave it there, and then we go to Keen with Dar, and now Keen knows that Dar is playing her. But I'm a little confused by the scene because like when they're kind of talking back and forth of like, is Dar suspicious now because she's being so nice?
I feel
or
like that's
the
vibe I got. Like he kind of picked up on it somewhere in there.
Sean, how did you feel about that scene?
Very good. Well, he brought the names, and the reason, if you look at it after the fact, that he was so pissed off in the car and upset when he got in the house, it was because he feels that maybe she's onto him, even though she was playing it really cool and really nice.
I feel like that was the issue.
This guy is a
He's
pro.
good. Yes, he's a pro.
He can read you. So I think maybe he felt that the plan is not going how he wants it to go. So that's why he put the names away.
I agree. I feel like she played it too cool almost. Maybe she was too nice and he picked up on it. I think that's also why he pointed out, I was like, oh, is that your son? He must be so proud
Like
of
a complete distraction of like their whatever their agenda to be talking or conversation
But not
was
even
gonna be
just
about.
that. I feel like he knew that would throw her off. Like throw
And
her
he
off
did.
her game.
And it did.
She instantly got emotional, maybe even playing on guilt. He completely just disarmed her as soon as he kind of whiffed that maybe something wasn't right.
Yeah, he's good.
Yes, and we're definitely gonna find out how good he is when we get the next couple episodes for sure.
Also, right before there, we see Max in the company, and they're all like, "Oh, we're having this issue. He figured it out," and they're like, "Yay!" And then we realize what the company is, or at least a portion of it. They're essentially like running an army of like fake online profiles that push a conservative agenda.
A propaganda, yep.
That's crazy. And it was like you see all these profiles and, they kind of make it clear that it's very, conservative, almost nationalism mentality. I don't know. I was just like, man. And it makes sense with Brett's, that's his name, right?
Brett O'Keefe. Uh-huh.
Brett O'Keefe's like, his agenda. I don't know. That was just really interesting. It wasn't something I was expecting at all, but at the same time, something that's potentially very powerful and could, potentially damage the president or some kind of, I don't know, idea or vision they're having.
Yeah, it's because it's a little strange because you think about how we get introduced to that building and that corporation or conglomerate or whatever it is in the end, Conlon ends up dead. But then you go in there and it looks like, I know because I've worked at a startup, it looks very much like a startup where there's long tables, everybody's on laptops.
It's so intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you really want to know what it is.
Yeah, and then you see a big screen of just like, profiles. So you're like, whoa, wait a minute. It's a little disarming or jarring to sit there and look at that and say, wait, this is going on? Except for it's not, where the guns and...
I think it's funny because I feel like I saw that in Max's face too. Like he's like, whoa, what is this? And then he's realizing, oh, well, I kind of just put all these people back online. I don't know. It was weird. It was interesting though. I didn't expect that. That was probably like the least thing I expected that company to be,
Yeah, I didn't expect it.
the beauty of the show is that it's able to go between the life following art, or is it the other way around?
Right. And I mean, there are reports that this stuff happens and that they happen overseas as well, from people creating profiles of Americans that aren't real, and they do it for whatever reason, for clicks, for money, for their agenda. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, in season 3, when we were actually doing the Iran story with me, the amazing thing was that while we were filming, after we had shot and while we were airing the episodes, the stuff with Iran actually was going on, which was everybody was freaking out, like, how do they know? I'm like, they are that good. They are so in tune with what's going on
in real
that
life.
they can sometimes guess what's going to happen. So it's just amazing. They do so much research. These guys are so amazing.
Okay, so then finally from there it is...
We see the scene with Quinn and Dar, which was weird.
So we kind of like the revelation a couple episodes ago that Dar
that was a strange thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's had an inappropriate relationship with Quinn.
Oh my God.
So yeah, Quinn,
you want to hate Dar even more now.
So we see Quinn break into Dar's apartment and threaten him. They have like this confrontation, and Dar's like, I would never hurt you. I didn't send that guy. And then he's like, I love you. And it's crazy because I was like, damn it, everyone's telling Quinn lately that they love him. He's just like this loved guy that, apparently. But then everyone wants to kill him too. It's weird. It's a weird place to be in. But they have this like little heart-to-heart. And at first I'm like, does Quinn believe him? Don't buy his stuff. But he doesn't kill him. And then I'm like, okay. So then he leaves. But this was part of his plan, which is why I'm like, Quinn is still so smart.
See?
He picks up on the phone call that Dar makes 2 seconds later, which is stupid, to the guy that he's actually after.
The neighbor
who
the
killed
guy with the hat, as he
Astrid,
says. Yeah.
and there he goes. I'm like, oh, Quinn.
And that's where and that's...
But as I said, Quinn is trained, so
Yeah.
it's in his DNA. He just knows what to do.
I just think it's so good. For a second, I was like, oh, I feel like he bought Dar's thing, and that's why he didn't kill him.
Yeah.
But no, that's not why. And
Right.
I just love that.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, so hey guys, so we're here at Homeland with Shaun Toub, the guy who plays Majid Javadi.
Shaun Toub.
If you have any questions, I'm on the chat. So I mean, please, I'll try to monitor it while we're talking to him. I do have a question: is how many different places has this character taken you? I don't know if you're just like, oh, we only shoot. Like, I don't know where you've like shot some of your scenes.
Well, the series has been moved around quite a few times, so I mean, up from 1 to 3 they were in Charlotte, and then 4 they went to South Africa, and then 5th season was in Germany, and then New York this season. I had the pleasure to fly and go to film actually the last episode of season 3 in Morocco.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and this trip, funny enough, episode 4, we shot it in Morocco again.
Oh, just for that. Wow, that wasn't a big scene either, right?
No, but there was other
That's
stuff.
awesome.
The things with Saul and everybody. Yeah, so we actually shot back again in Morocco, and then of course I took a detour and went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai, which was amazing. And then in New York for a couple of months.
Wait, so did you go to the Burj Khalifa?
Yes.
Did you go all the way to the top?
Actually, I put it on my social media, Twitter and all. I took a video. They gave us a special tour, which was incredible. It's incredible to see. It's really a very surprising place to go.
That's really cool. Something I have to ask. So this episode, you were taken.
Uh-huh.
We don't know if you're dead. We don't know if you're alive. So I gotta know, is this the last we've seen of Javadi?
I can't say.
Okay, no, that's great. Like a true professional. Because
I'm just trying to get hints
like
here.
a true professional. All
No,
right.
honestly, you wouldn't want to know, because the beauty of this show is that I tell people. I mean, as I said, I don't even get the scripts that I'm not in, because the beauty of this to not know and just find out and see and enjoy. So it just.
Okay, so JBeckX in the chat says, how do you detox from such a heavy show? Like if you've had a heavy scene,
Yeah.
I mean, can you just turn it on and off, or you're like, oh, I just need to have a couple hours to myself.
Sometimes it depends on it depends on the show, and it also depends on the character, and it depends on the situation, how much work you have, how long is it, and all that. Generally, sometimes if you have multiple, 16, 18-hour days, then you're beat and you you do need to detox. For me, the way I detox is workout. And
Yeah, no, you're very fit.
oh, thank you.
No, I saw that. Yeah, like I said, guys, if you go to his Twitter and he says he ran the marathon, like I saw the outfit and I was just like, damn, and like even in the pool scene, I was wondering about that. I was thinking you're reading your script and you're like, oh, I have a pool scene. Oh man, like, that means I gotta like make sure not to eat any carbs or do anything.
No, I just I had. Javadi was thinner before in season 3 because I was coming off of a movie that I was doing, and so I was in the middle of doing that, so I had taken some weight off. And then for this year, Javadi has been, having the great life. He has, he's in Iran, the top man, so he's been eating and working out and looking good, so it's all
It
right.
works for him. What's been your favorite scene to shoot on Homeland?
Wow, that's tough. It's like picking between your kids almost. You know what I mean?
Or
It's
one of your most memorable?
Yeah, because you actually
because there's so many of them that I really like. One of my favorites was actually with Carrie, with Claire in the finale of season 3. In that scene that we talked about
Great
Brody.
finale.
Yeah, I thought that was a beautiful scene. I've had the pleasure of having wonderful scenes with Mandy, and in episode 7 of season 3, the integration. No, when he interrogated me, it was so interesting. Finally I got to work with Dar, Dar Adal, the great.
Abraham.
Yes. And so he's the master. It's honestly, it's like going to a master class of acting. And it's just, that's the beauty of it. So even some small scenes, then, it becomes your favorite. The pool scene, there was nothing going on. But I didn't realize that people thought I was channeling Scarface because of the way I was.
It was pretty badass.
Yeah. But there's a moment there that is really interesting because you all of a sudden see another part of the character. Javadi laying at the pool
just relaxed.
in
He's
a
chilling.
spa. Actually, they were like 8 different models over there, which I guess because of time constraint they had to cut things out, but. Yeah. So.
I have to be honest, because you do such a good job playing Javadi.
Appreciate it.
Like, scary, cold character. There's a part of me that was like a little nervous to meet you, but I know he's got to be cool. But the funny thing is then I remembered, and so I watched it, of course, is, you're Yinsen and Iron Man.
Yes.
And, you pretty much helped, like, launch that franchise, getting Robert Downey Jr. back to me in Iron Man, and then it's, like, this huge universe. I mean, so I was like, oh, he's got to be cool, right?
They are nothing without me.
Yeah.
I also got to mention you're in one of my favorite movies of all time, Crash.
Thank you.
Love it, and like one of the most powerful storylines of that movie.
Thank you so much.
Love
No,
it.
that's one of my favorites actually. And I've been blessed to be in some amazing stuff. The Kite Runner and a whole bunch of TV stuff.
Great
that has
move,
been
great story.
So it's just you get lucky. You're blessed to be part of the things like Homeland. So.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, like this isn't
Fantastic.
actually your first time in our studios because you were here for Grimm,
Yes,
which is
yes.
on its last season, I believe, right?
Yeah, well, I was here a few months back. 2016, yeah. It sounds like a couple of months away, but it's actually probably like 8 months away, 8 months ago. So I was here, in the studio for that.
Can you let us know, or let our fans know, like what else you're working on right now?
Right now, actually, I'm in negotiations on a couple of things.
It's always a good thing.
We are. I'm looking at some TV. Hoping to to get a series going, and I always like movies. So if the character comes along that I gotta do it, then I gotta do it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's been a interesting ride, because I just did, I run the gamut. I do so many different characters, which is a blessing. I just did like Papa, which is the life story of Hemingway. We shot it in Cuba.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the first movie that has been shot in Cuba. It came out last year, but if you can find it on all over the place. And it's called Papa, the story of Hemingway. It's Hemingway in Cuba, and it was like I played Evan Shipman, an American poet, and just roles like that. You're just blessed to be a part of. So I'll let you know.
Terrific.
Follow me.
We're gonna look out for that.
And I always post. I always tell you guys what I'm doing. So thank you for the support.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So you've been watching the after show for Homeland. We've covered episode 9 with special guest Shaun Toub, Majid Javadi, and of course, he can't spill the beans in terms of what's going to be going on with that character, which is very smart on his part.
You wouldn't want me to.
Yeah. No, I don't want to know.
I'm not doing my job if I don't ask. I got to.
But I mean, it's been a treat to have you here, especially this episode, to all of a sudden be like, wait, are you alive or are you dead? It's like, who shot JR?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm excited to find out next week. It's gonna be good.
Keep watching. It's gonna be interesting ride for the next 3 episodes.
So, Shaun, where can people find you?
Actually,
online?
4 episodes. 3 episodes? No, 3 more to go.
3 more.
Where you can find me online?
Yeah, like they can find you on Twitter.
Yeah. Twitter, as I said, Shaun Toub, ShaunToub on Twitter and Instagram, and then I have my fan page on Facebook. Actually, I'm going to be on Facebook tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Facebook Live.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh,
Tomorrow.
okay. I read it wrong. Okay.
Tomorrow at 3 o'clock Pacific.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And Lesley, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lesley Face. Hey.
Okay, guys. And I'm Rick Hong. You can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RickhOng. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you, guys.
I should have done
you.
hey. I forgot to do the hey.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.